Hello learners. Today we will be covering MMPA 009 International Human Resource Management Block 2 HRM Practices in International Context. There is two units in Block 2, that is Unit 5 Staffing for International Assignments and Unit 6 Training and Development in International Context. So we'll discuss about that and learn about these two units. Let's first talk about the unit 5, that is staffing at international context. So staffing is all about recruitment and selection. Recruitment involves searching for and obtaining of potential job candidates in sufficient numbers and quality so that the organization can select the most appropriate people to fill its job need. Recruitment is generally said as right person at right job at right time. So the filtration, after the filtration, the recruitment filtration selection is done. As per the organizational objectives, goals, the job descriptions are then analyzed. They are selected. They are written as per the organizational objective, and the right candidate and the selected candidate is the recruit as per the job descriptions. So when we talk about the selection is a multi-level process of screening the candidate to choose the most suitable person, most suitable candidate for the vacant position. So staffing involves the recruitment and selection both. The pool of the right candidate and the selected candidate is among the pool of the candidate which are available in the database or maybe from the industry as per the organizational objective, and the job descriptions are the match. Then we select on the right candidate. But from an international context, in an international recruitment and selection, the main goal is to hire the people to get the job done effectively on the international level, on the international context, on the international organizations. So the main job requirement is very specific. The skills are very specific, and the abilities are well mentioned. There is a skill shortage. If there is not enough people with the required skills, the company must hire externally. Sometimes it happens that within an organization, they doesn't find the right candidate within an organization, so they take the help of the higher external agent. They hire the external agencies, or they take help from the network of people around them. The hiring options can be from the parent company where the company's headquarter is located, that is parent company national, which is called as PCNs. From the host country where the job is located, that is called as host country national, that is HCNs. Or from the third country. It is not PCN, it is not HCN, it is a third country nationals, that is known as TCNs. So staffing strategy is very clear. It depends on the company policies, organizational goals. It should matches out with the international goals as well. So the common practice is most company use mixed staffing approach. They want the best candidate. They want the best person for their designed job description. So they go either by PCN or HCN or TCN. So it depends on the availability of the candidates as per the organization goals and the skills required for that particular role. So there are different approaches when it comes to the staffing of multinational corporations. First approach is ethocentric. Who is hired where? The key position in subsidiary here is filled by parent company, that is PCNs, parent country nationals. Here the advantage is that they have a strong headquarter control and coordination because that is from the parent organization. So it maintain company culture and standards. But the high cost is the high cost of the expatriates. We also call it expats. So the cost is very included in that. They need to relocate the expats from the parent company and to the another country. Adaptation issues can be on the environmental basis, on the cultural, on the language. It can be any. HCNs lose promotion opportunities. So HCN is post-country national, so they sometimes lose the promotion opportunities within the wherever they are based. Second approach is polycentric. Polycentric is when the headquarters staffed by PCNs and the subsidiaries by host country. Host country nationals are HCNs. So it is a lower cost, the advantage is lower cost, and there is no language or the cultural barrier. There is no issues on that with the local customers because they are from the same where the company is, they are based from that geographical location. The communication barrier comes when they are dealing with the headquarters, when they are dealing with the subsidiaries. So PCS miss sometimes the international exposure when it comes to the polycentric approach. Then is geocentric approach. Geocentric approach is when the talent is chosen regardless of nationality. That is both from headquarter or maybe from the subsidiaries. So the best part is that they encourage the international market and access to global talent. They have a large pool of candidates from which they can choose the best of the suitable candidate. Now, here the disadvantage is the employee resistance within the organization, or maybe the employee resistance when it comes to the relocation. There are certain, when it comes to the international level, there are certain work permits are required cross border, so there can be an issue. Adaptation challenges is again there if it relates with the PCS. So, again, the adaptation challenges can be language barrier or cultural misfit or environmental changes or maybe, their own living styles, So the fourth approach is regiocentric. Regiocentric is when the recruitment and transfers happens within a specific region. Here, the cultural familiarity is very much there within the region. So this is the best part. And it's very easy for the candidate or for the person who is approached for that particular position to mobile, because regional mobility is very easy. For example, a person wanted to, is placed, for example, within the country to different region. It's very easy rather than going to the different countries where the visas or the work permits are required. It limits the global exposure because the pool of the candidate may be limited, or maybe we may miss out one of the best global talent because they are a very a small pool of candidates. From there, we need to select one of the best one. So these are few approaches, which is ethnocentric, polycentric, geocentric, and regiocentric. So there are certain factors also which affect the PCN, HCN, TCN mix. First is the country of headquarter origin. Different countries follow different staffing policies. Generalization versus reality. Observations are based on limited research and journal trends, not complete data. So there is a very limited research, very limited observations are there. Skilled manpower availability. If the host country lacks talent, PCNs are sent. If general skills suffice, then HCNs are trained. So when the organization is following the PCN, HCN, TCN mix, then any of they are the factor while selection. So it is they have a large pool of candidates with them. They have a bigger database. From there they can pick any of the candidate who is best suitable. Cultural difference. Larger cultural gaps can create distrust and adaptation issues when the PCN, HCN, TCN mix is there. So sometimes it may create the cultural gaps between the employees or the organization work culture as well. Subsidiary age. Subsidiary age refers to when older subsidiaries require less control and develop local capabilities over time. So over here, when it comes when we are talking about the mix factors, mix of staffing, TCN, HCN, TCN mix. So sometimes we need to really check about it. A recruiter has to be very specific on the skills required, should match it out with the organizational objectives. So overall impact on staffing is, for example, the Japanese multinational prefer more PCNs for control. US multinationals use more HCNs. Other follow a mixed approach. So Japanese and US are very particular on, not a mix, but they prefer PCNs. Japanese culture is very inclusive, or the people who are working in Japan, or the people who are from the Japan, they prefer from their parent or nationality only, where they know about the culture, they know about the living style, even they know about their eating habits. So there are a lot of things which has to be taken into consideration while staffing on the basis of the headquarter origin. Now the patterns may vary widely when it comes to the staffing. The individual companies strategize in a way that they may consider the different strategies for different approaches. Early stages PCNs use PCNs, and later stages train HCNs. Later stage they train HCNs at the lower cost, because at the early stages the work culture matter a lot, where the parent where if the staffing is done, if the person is recruited from the parent organization, then it is very easy for an adaptation. So there will not be an issue in the adaptation in terms of cultural values, or the language barrier is not there. So in the early stages, the organization or the impact, if it is done from the HCN, and the mix factor may impact on the staffing. So headquarter prefers PCN to maintain control, and PCNs may resist foreign assignments. So when it comes to a mix factor, then it impact on the staffing in this way also. In terms of when it is a new subsidiary, more PCNs, and established studies subsidiaries, it is more HCN. So we cannot see the much of the mix when we talk about the subsidiary age, because at the early, the new subsidiaries have more PCN, more people from their parent nationals, and established have high nationals with them, where the host country nationals are more where the job is located. Parent country national is from where the company headquarter is related, because all the strategies, all the subsidiaries, or the company policies are made from the headquarters, and host country is all about the where the job is located. So when we talk about the established subsidiaries, it is more of HCN, wherever the subsidiaries are there. So staffing and the locals are hired from that particular host countries. So there are certain influence on cultural factor, but what is culture? Culture is a collective programming of a mind which distinguishes the member of one category of people from those to another. So culture shapes, it is a combination of collection of values, behaviors, and expectations in significant way. So culture is formed with not only one factor, it is a combination, it is a collective effort of a people who puts on to create. When we say creating a culture, it's creating or shaping the culture with their behaviors, with their attitudes, with their values, with their expectations or the objectives. So first is cultural influence on selection process. When we talk about the selection process, recruiters are unaware of candidates' cultural background, or sometimes they misinterpret behavior during selection. So when it happens, when there is a cultural influence, it may lead to biased evaluation. It may lead to incorrect evaluations about competencies or personality. So this is when we talk about the during the selection. There is sometimes a risk of cultural shock also. Candidates may face psychological discomfort when placed at very different cultural environment. For example, a person from an environment where everybody is particular on the time, they are very disciplined, they value time, or they are very they're time management people, and all of sudden they get into a country or to get into a workplace where people are very flexible on timing. They may work on a flexible timing, whereas a person belong from a cultural background, they work in a fixed time. So this is again a cultural shock sometimes on an adaptability issue. There creates adaptability issue. Even sometimes on a the work behavior. Sometimes in the the kind of for example, in one organization, wherever Mr. X is working, where the formal culture is maintained, formal attire is maintained, and they need to be come in with a tie and suit, and everybody is intact with the formal wear only. And all of a sudden, they get into a organization where they are not bothered about, they are not used to. The culture is like they can come even in the casual wear or even sometimes in the t-shirt and shorts also. So this is one of the culture shock, because that Mr. X comes from a work behavior or a work culture where they used to wear a formal wear during the office hours, and all of a sudden he or she comes into an organization where there is a informal wear. So this also takes time to adapt that work culture and prepare the culture shock. It may be because of the communication style. It can be because of the dressing. It can be from the eating habits also. It can be about whether it is what kind of communication fact process they are following. So sometimes it happens even on the non-behavioral issues also. In Western culture, firm handshake and direct eye contact means confidence. Whereas in Asian culture, same behavior is seen as disrespectful or aggressive. So this misjudgment may occur if recruiters apply their own cultural norms to evaluate all the candidates. So the recruiters has to be well trained to take to tackle uh, the candidates from the different cultural background, so that there should not be any cultural shock for them also. So need for cultural sensitivity is very important when it comes to when it comes to the recruitment stage, where the recruiters must understand cultural norms and differences to make fair and effective hiring decisions. The use of cross-cultural training is very much required at this level, at the recruitment level also. The localized criteria in global selection process, they need to be trained in that. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. Either it will be biased or it will be, selection of a wrong candidate at a cost of an organization. So when we say cultural shock is one thing which, if the candidate is not, appropriate, with first stage is honeymoon stage, where the individual is fascinated and charmed by the new culture. They notice only by positive aspects, excitement, curiosity, and optimism is one of a few feelings which comes in that particular stage. Second is adjustment stage. Adjustment stage is get a modern PowerPoint strange behavior begin to appear normal, and they gain cultural knowledge and confidence. There comes the tolerance, openness, and improved coping. But before that, it is a cultural shock stage where then negative differences comes before adapting, before adjusting. There is a cultural stop stage immediately after the honeymoon stage, where there is negative differences, the language barriers. It seems to be very sometimes fancy for a small organization to hire an expats, but the cross cultural training is not there, so it's very difficult for the existing employees to connect with them. So there can be a language barrier, there can be a communication barrier, there can be an unfamiliar customs with them. So there the emotions comes out, or the expressions comes out is of frustration, anxiety, and disappointment. Seeing that whether they have a thought comes in, whether we have recruited the right candidate or not, whether he or she can be able to adapt or not. So then comes the adjustment stage, where they get uh, s- strange behaviors appearing to be normal. The individual gains cultural knowledge and confidence. So then finally comes the mastery stage. Mastery stage is also known as biculturalism, where the individual is able to function effectively and comfortably. They accept and may adopt local customs. The feelings and the expressions comes out then to be on a very subtle stage, a comfort level, or maybe a kind of belongingness, or the adaptability stage comes in a picture, where everybody adapt whatever be the culture of an organization. it, there are different timelines for every stage. So from honeymoon stage to mastery stage, it depends on the organization policies, organization culture, what was the timeline, how the people were recruited, how many people were recruited, you know, and what were the policies, employee adjustment processes are there or not. So if there are employee assistant processes, then it's easy from moving from honeymoon stage to mastery stage. Otherwise, sometimes it may take long period also. So recruitment and management implication at different stages are the four stages where the candidate feels motivated, and very initially when we talk about, the degree of adjustment is very high and time is very less. It is on a very initial stage of when they join the organization. At the cultural shock happens when there is a risk of expatriate failure, when the managers may return early, when the pre-departure training is critical, because before departure, when recruiting the expats, so the pre-departure training is very important. If that is missed, then the cultural shock is will be there. So sometimes the managers may return early. They cannot be able to adjust. So during that period only, they feel that this is not the right decision, and they go back. So then, over a period of time, if properly trained, and if the management is work on a specific strategy, then it comes to an adjustment stage for them, where there is support of language training is there, cultural coaching is there, family integration is becomes very important, because during an adjustment process, and sometimes the family also moves along with the expats. So their family need to be addressed very carefully, and the family need to be involved during while the selection process. Then finally comes the mastery stage, where it takes time and the degree of adjustment again goes up. If we see this graph, then in the cultural shock, it declines. It comes below, and the time is less. Time is during the initial stages, just after the honeymoon stage, but the degree of adjustment is very less. It dripped down. But at the mastery, again, it moves up because now the training has been done. The management has taken a full responsibility in terms of cultural coaching, or maybe family adjustments. Family has adjusted on, within the geography, within the environment, within the the locals. So the individual becomes fully productive, and the ideal time to develop leadership or long-term goal is at mastery stage, because there they adapt, or they master on all the skills, all the strategies, and the culturally they find themselves to be best fit into the organization. So it is very important. The management role is very important while during these stages they play a very important role, specifically from the recruitment stage to the mastery stage. If we get into the in-depth analysis of this, so there are certain examples when it comes to the cultural misunderstandings, like work where the times and deadlines are mentioned. For Americans, time is scarce. Deadlines are serious commitments. They are very serious about that. If they wanted to complete it by 12 o'clock, they will complete it by 12 o'clock. Whereas if it is a host culture view, the Arabs are imposing deadlines is disrespectful. So for Arabs, they say, for example, imposing they are imposing the deadline. So it's not very important for them. For them, it is okay. Work will be done, but why imposing? Why you are so strict about the deadline? So recruiters must assess the time orientation. If they are hosting the Arabs, from the host is a host culture. So time orientation of both the host culture and candidate has to should be matched, or they may be they can mention that in terms of, or during the recruitment, the questions can be asked to about the time orientation. Then social habits, specifically focusing on food habits, where the Indians, our street food culture is very familiar, but insects in food is shocking. This is a culture shock for Western people. Whereas the Thais, the insects are common delicacies. They eat the insects. But for Indian, yes, for street food is, it's a, the industry is very big, and they're used to of having the street food. But there should not be no insects. There should not be insects on that. Whereas the Thais eat the same insects, so that is in their cuisine. So prepare the candidate and family for potential cultural surprise. This is also one of the cultural shock for if we talk about the food habits. So to avoid the rejection or offense, because some people really get offended on these things as well. So family readiness matter is very important. The candidate family should also be assessed for their willingness and capacity to handle the cultural shock. A successful transition through U-curve requires pre-departure training, ongoing support, and empathetic HR policies has to be maintained. Even in most organizations, the families are also involved during the selection process while giving the final offer to you to handle the cultural shock, or maybe because relocation to one country to another country is involved. So their views and their understanding is very much required. So their HR recruitment plays a very important role. So HR policies are very well defined when it comes to an expats recruitment. So recruitment methods can vary, for the expats is maybe within the organization or through reference. Within an organization, they ask for the referrals, they ask for from the employees of an organization about the referrals and all, or maybe through the existing database of an organization. If they have They are maintaining the manpower data or the database with full inventory. So the full database can be scrutinized, it can be seen again, and best of the candidate can be um, opt out of that. Or maybe in case if not possible within an organization, the organization take help from the cross national advertising. They go for the headhunting. E-recruitment is now the reaching the candidates is very easy through the internet recruitment. So there are many consultants who are working only on international recruitment, their expertise in that. So organization can take help from these consulting companies, or maybe headhunting is one method which is generally outsourced, but it is not internal, it is outsourced through the third parties, or maybe through the consulting. So either it can be internal or it can be external. Internal can be within an organization, and external can be through the help of any consulting organizations. Now, who are expatriates? Who are expats? A person living temporarily or permanently in a country other than their own country of citizenship or upbringing, are usually referred to skilled professionals. They are sent abroad by their companies, PCNs in MNC subsidiaries. They are from the parent of nationals or country nationals, whereas they are sent to the multinational to the other country. Now, sometimes the people really get confused with immigrants and expatriates. Immigrants are those unskilled people who go for work, who go for unskilled labor. It is immigrants are mainly used for that. Whereas the expatriates are the people who are recruited by the company headquarter, parent company, nationals. They are the qualified HCNs and maybe unavailable. Sometimes they are more in demand. They are basically known to be as a position fillers. For example, in America, US has started an subsidiary here in India, and they want someone who can take care of their India office. Either there are two ways: either they hire someone from India, that is from the host country, or they'll get in, they may be unavailable. That is why the expats are recruited, they are selected and sent it to India to take care of the India office. This is how it works. But HCNs are very demand driven. They are basically the position fillers. So sometimes they are not available, some because now a lot of multinationals are there. So if there are experienced candidates who are working on international level, who are working as international managers. They are experts in that. They are they have a mastery in that particular area. They are from international area. So manager development via foreign investment, they are learning driven. The managers who are in a development state, they are the learning driven people. Whereas the organizational development is knowledge transfer between headquarters and subsidiaries. So expatriates are, selected and sent to the multinationals on the basis of this. Either one, if the HCN is not available. Second is for their development, that is through the foreign assignments, or maybe for the organizational development. So when we talk about the demand driven, it is all about transfer of knowledge. It is because the control, they wanted to have a control on the subsidiary, the solve problems very easily, fill the positions. It is more of a teaching driven because they go there and teach and talk about the connect, the direct connect with the headquarters, and they give the trainings on all these things. So learning driven is all about adapting the subsidiary culture and learn from it. That is why the learning driven manager development by a foreign assignment is given to while selecting the expatriates. 30 to 50% failure rate is seen as an ineffective assignment or premature return. There, either pre-departure training is missing, or maybe cultural, cross-cultural training is missing, or maybe this happens during the when there is a cultural shock. Expatriates cannot be able to adjust within the environment, within the work behavior, or maybe for any reason. So 30 to 50% failure rate is seen. Failure is mostly due to poor selection of the HR process. It can be cultural, lack of cultural sensitivity, business ethic concern, business acumen, communication skills, persistence, tolerance for ambiguity. If there is an ambiguity, then also it is a lack of HR processes, low goal and task orientation, flexibility and adaptability, tolerance to difference, non-judgmentalness, international exposure, and the open-mindedness. So these are the few reasons for this failure, but there can be another reasons also that can be personal or maybe something related to the physiological or psychological forces as well. So reason for expatriate failures are what the recruiters can do. Failure to select the right person for the assignment, loss of esteem, they lose self-esteem, the negative effect on career growth, or the public embarrassment sometimes happens if the failure is on a very high profile. So ability to adjust, previously ignored, but now it is increasingly recognized and seen to be as a very critical. Spouse dissatisfaction is very important. It may also a reason of expatriate failures, where the family problems are there, or maybe if they are not finding it good to be in the host country. So multinationals, most of the multinationals interview the spouses also before selection. So there is, because there is a direct cost of salary, relocation, allowances, family support expenses, and training cost is included. So the recruiters has to be very particular on while selection, because it is a high cost recruitments are involved, whereas the indirect cost can be the missed opportunities, or sometimes it is also sometimes taken as a damage to the company's reputation in the host country, right? So the recruiters has to be very particular on to avoid the expatriates failure. Candidate must be able to withstand and adapt after the honeymoon period and cultural shock set in due to the cultural differences between the home and the host country. So here, if the candidate has given a proper cross-cultural trainings, or maybe the empathetic HR policies are there, so it's very easy for them to come out of the cultural shock. Otherwise, as we have seen, the 30 to 50% of the expatriate failure can be it happens when they are going through the cultural shock, because it is very difficult to fully evaluate the candidate before assignment. But broad policies can be taken care, can be designed in a way, and the criteria has to be mentioned to improve the success chances. So uh, recruitment, while recruitment parallelly, it has to really work on the training and development also on the international context, where they take care of the KSAs of the human resource, that is knowledge, skills, and attitude of the human resource, and the mobility, whether they are actually willing to move, or it is just a stage where they feel very excited and overwhelmed to get the international assignment. So these necessitate two things comes in a picture when parallelly goes while this after the recruitment, while selection is a training and development is very important, so that the skills are updates, behavioral patterns are fine tuned, and the employees are familiarized with different cultures wherever they will be going to place. Training and development help to develop the mindset to inculcate global leadership styles and engage managing of diversity. So diversity and trainings are very much required on an initial stages as well, or maybe on a regular basis, so that wherever there is a gap, one the organization can fill that. They can find out the training, they identify the gaps and fill that with a regular refresher trainings as well. So training aim to improve the employees' current work skills and behaviors, whereas development aims to increasing abilities, because we are talking about the key skill areas, or maybe the knowledge, skills, and aptitudes. So here, uh, when we say KSA of human resources, key skill areas is all about training, and when we say knowledge, skills, and attitude, it is referred to as in development, where we focus on the increased abilities in relation to some, maybe some other position or future position, when it comes to a succession planning also. So let's see how the international assignment is a vehicle for both training and development. As reflected in the reasons why international assignments continue to play a strategic role in international business operations. So there is role of training and development, where the importance of training is very important because it supports the expatriates to adjust and enhance an assignment performance. Pre-departure training components include the cultural awareness about the preliminary visits. It includes a language skills, relocation assistance, that is training for trainers, because here pre-departure is very important, because before that, whosoever is coming, they need to know about the basic language skills. They need to about the, the preliminary visits on, wherever, who is the contact, first contact point once they reach over there, or it has to be very smoothly done. So effectiveness of pre-departure training helps them to accompanying with a, better handling with the family, because if they are relocating along with the family, so it's very important them to prepare on a handling part, and they know about whom to contact, or who will be the person available there, or if there is any language barriers, or somebody translator or someone else is there to take care of all these things. So development aspects of assignment is very important when it comes to training and development part, and the career development tools are contributing to internal career path, or maybe the succession planning further. Training and development of teams is focused on training and developing international management teams to build global capability. So it is a continuing process. Development is a continuous process. A lot of refresher trainings can be taken care, or can be conducted. In-house training centers can be, maintained. So multinational companies have their own training institutes where they train their own personnel, own people, like Motorola University, McDonald's University, and Lufthansa Business Schools. The role of expatriates as trainers. Here, when we talk about the learning driven people, they come as a trainer. That the main objective is to transfer the knowledge and the competence between the units, that is the PCN the HCN. They are from the PCN, they train the HCN, that's the host country nationals. Even on the even it is not given in the job description. So, implementing how to implement the policy, how to implement the process, they train on the new systems and procedures. So, international assignment can also be seen as a job rotation, where they have a broader perspective, they develop a pool of capable global operators. Key step for a multinational is providing suitable training for international assignments, including pre-departure, is very critical to success in international recruitment and selection. So role of training is not only on one specific or one day course. Just after the recruitment and selection of international team, as we see it in this picture, the training is all about the pre-departure training. That is the basics on how they go and whom they will be meeting, where they will be staying, all about the logistics, or even the basics language skills about the social habits and all. Whereas the development is two-way, that is from the international assignments to the HCN or HCN from the PCNs. So this happens. It's a process on the international training and development, which is shown in this picture. Preparation for training for international assignees are establishing and maintaining relationship internal within the firm, external with the community, family, host country, home government, host government or headquarters, review terms and conditions of the assignment, imparting knowledge of the foreign language as well as knowledge of host country, then minimizing re-entry problem, and it increase the conflict management skill. Whenever it happens on the conflict, on this cultural values or maybe adjustment stage or the conflict stage, so conflict management skills has increased if they are more trained for international assignments. So this is the forms of training can be pre-departure, cultural orientation, area study, that is on the base of the geography where they are going to live in what area, what local area, what are the language instruction. Cross-cultural T group trainings can be done. Behavioral simulations can be conducted on regular basis. Case studies can be shared with them. Post arrival training is very important because when they come for the post arrival also includes the to give them a training on adjustment about the environment also. So apart from the cultural context, so cultural orientation and training can be taken care of. Group problem solving trainings, re-entry training and orientation training outcomes, knowledge about political, cultural, economic, business, legal, or even the social factors of the host country. Awareness trainings are very important on the needs and expectations, and also if it relates with the personal issues with the family relationship in the host country. So these are the few of the training which can be prepared by HR for the international signings. So now the topics to facilitate the ever crucial adjustment process. When they are going through the adjustment process, one can be intercultural business skills, that is the negotiation styles in different countries, that is different in different countries. Cultural shock management, what to expect and how to deal with the stress of adaptation. Lifestyle, how to deal with different shopping and transportation system on different familiarity with different food and entertainment, and host country daily living issues. So topics to facilitate are more on local customs and etiquettes, the area studies, again, the geographical area, repartition training, language training strategies and all. Then there are few topics to facilitate. It can be through counseling, it can be through training. Counseling is mainly focused on practical logistics and administrative support for the to move abroad, and training refers to developing skills. So many organizations divide the preparation of uh, you know uh, these trainings into these two categories only, whether they need to be counsel or they need to be trained. Training is all about developing skills, and counseling is when they are talking about the travel arrangements, or that is one to one, or maybe some local person is assigned to them for the language training or vacations, or maybe the logistics part, the housing, the property management, or maybe even their children education options and expenses. Whereas the training refers to the policies, the attitudes, the health safety adjustments, the security, the cultural sensitivity about the company, about the organization background, their history, their policies, their strategies, and overall. Cultural awareness training is it helps to expatriate, it helps expatriates to blend and avoid the isolation in host country. They should not feel that they have come altogether to a different place where they don't know anything. So cultural awareness training is very important in term for the pre-departure. Preliminary visits need to be done. Language instructions need to be done where they helps to understanding and using of local language is very important. Practical assistance is important where the support day-to-day matters. Maybe, for example, grocery or transportation, etc. So, cross-cultural training approach is information giving approach to effective approach to immersion approach, because initially it is 1 month or less is all about information giving. We are giving, for example, we are giving an information about the culture, about the area, about that is nearly 1 month, or the level is very low as well, and the length of training is 1 to 2 months, nearly one less than a month, nearly. Then it comes the effective approach where they actually work in that particular situation. That is a medium level, that is on a mediocre level. And for the highest level is immersion approach, where they actually the sensitivity training or the simulations or the assessment center, they are gone to the assessment centers, the extensive language training is done. In an information given, only the few sentences or few words which is required at the daily state, daily habit, or maybe basic level of language training is required, whereas effective or moderate level, where they can speak some of the sentence, or at least understand what the other person is saying. And on the immersion approach, the language training comes to an extensive language exposure or a training where they can also speak in the same accent or same, speed of, or the modulation or the articulation skills and all. So this is all about cross-cultural training approach. Then is preliminary visits is when sending the expats and spouse to preliminary trip to host country is useful. This is very important because management has to take care of and customize a pre-departure preparation based. It not only helps the expatriate on the on an individual level, but because sometimes the entire family is involved. So preliminary visit is very important to know them about how the trip would be, and how there are certain contractual people who are involved with them, the education and the trainings, or maybe the adjustment period also sometimes involves in them to get aligned with the visit. Language training again is very important. I insist more on this because although English is the widely used global businesses, but still English speaking also have different variations. US, UK, Canada, Australia focus on English. They are, although they are English speaking countries, but they are focused on English, on the language. Focus less on language training, because either you are moving from UK to Canada, you know English, everybody knows English, but when it comes to altogether a different country where the subsidiary language is Spanish, there then you need to have know about the Spanish language so that you can be at least able to communicate. Or if the parent language is Finnish, then you have to be, one has to, the expats need to have the language training for to be there in the PCN. So training on HCN and PCN is, as we have discussed before in before slides also, it is at HCN it is limited, whereas PCN it is it's very important. Preliminary visits at HCN is very less frequent, whereas in PCN it is often arranged to assess. Language training at HCN is rarely emphasized, whereas on the PCN it may receive language training depend on the host country. Training gaps may add ad hoc or inconsistent in terms of HCN, whereas the PCN, the structured programs are there because they are moving from one national to another national, which is sometimes very different. So there are different individual development outcomes which comes for the expatriates as career advancements, skill enhancement, broader perspectives, management development, and their own personal growth, which builds a resilience, independence, and emotional intelligent person. Whereas the skill enhancement refers to the problem solving and their decision making skills. Leadership pipeline, the knowledge transfer, where the expats help share and transfer best practices systems, cultural integrations. Then is global mindset development. When they move with a different mindset, the key personal return with broader is more contemporary global perspectives, control and socialization. Expatriates acts as an agents of the corporate culture. So it enforces the headquarters strategies as well to the local HCNs as well. So the career decision points of expatriates is shown in this figure, which is also mentioned in the study material, from recruitment to selection to overseas assignment to the exit organization. This is an entire a process which follows, which starts with the pre-departure training if it's selected, and goes to the overseas assignment, and then sometimes if there is any issue, then it goes to the reassignment stage also. So developing international teams is frequently argued that multinational, especially network organization, would benefit by the mechanism of fostering innovation, organizational learnings, and transfer of knowledge. And it means of functional and national boundaries in enhancing horizontal communication and information flows. So the examples of training and development initiatives in global firms is diversity, language, individualized coaching, mentoring, immersion cultural experiences, cross-cultural orientation in country and pre-departure. So designing effective cross-cultural training, that is a CCT program, is first identifying the type of global assignment, then determining the TMAs, that is training needs, then establishing the goals, developing delivering the training initiative, and finally evaluating the training initiative program is very important because that gives effective cross-cultural training programs. So the effective cross-cultural training program can be done through ECCT, that is through DVT, internet, multimedia, distance learning. It can be through lectures. It can be, through any platform. If it comes to ECCT, the growth is very high. Geographical locations can be considered, and the implementation is very easy. The content coverage has to be what culture includes, and self-evaluation of one's own cultural values or personality. The evaluation questions must include whether the content was appropriate or not, and the delivery has to be self-directed nature, easy to movement, self-paid or real-time access. Currency information can also be a part of a delivery factor. Then developing a global mindset is one of the key competency which manage the global competitiveness, working and communicating across cultures, managing organizational adaptability, managing multicultural teams, managing uncertainty and choice, and managing personal and organization global learning with complexity or contradiction and conflict. Ongoing importance of training and training as a competitive advantage are the global trends. where the regular training is important. It is a process. It is seen as a the core skill need to be refreshed, or for the upskilling or the enhancing is very important. And training is also considered as a competitive advantage in terms of global markets. Maintaining the skilled workforce essential for survival and growth, and on top of it, soft skill training with the cultural competence, customer relations, safety, security, management will grow increasingly important these days, and every organization is focusing on, along with the core skill, the soft skill training as well. Training and development on international context is on adapting a new ways of working, global workforce development, retraining and lifelong learning, where the continuous training is very vital. It is very considered to be very important. Flexible and responsive training systems, distance learning and technology, e-learnings or remote learning is very much acknowledged. Human capital and knowledge management, where it serves as a fundamental or the foundational elements of this strategy. And workforce diversity and demographic changes is one of the very important factor in international context. So overall, we have discussed about the four staffing approaches: ethocentric, polycentric, geocentric, and regiocentric. We discussed about the recruitment methods on internal and external methods. International work is changing. Employees works across nations, across borders. They are relocating. Pre-departure and other trainings are required. Training and development is a process which includes not only the training part but also a support for adjustment and job performance abroad. Cultural awareness is very important because it helps employees to perform better overseas. International assignments not only boost the career development, but it also fosters the personal growth or personal independency, or maybe creating the international teams. So that's all about the recruitment and staffing and training and development in an international context. Thank you so much. Namaste.